Hello, I'm the Pedaling Pianist, and today I will be attempting to solve Buy or Rent by Chinstrap, which is a puzzle that has a twist in it. All will be revealed very shortly. Before we dive into that, though, this Friday and Saturday, please go over to my Twitch channel. Check that out. There will be a link to my Twitch channel in the description of this video. This weekend I will be hosting what I'm calling a virtual baby shower. For those of you who don't know, I have a wonderful 2-year-old daughter, and in addition, my partner is now 28 and a half weeks pregnant with twins, which is exciting and wonderful and amazing and brilliant and absolutely terrifying. No, it's going to be great. Anyway, we didn't really have the time or energy to host an in-person baby shower this time around, so I thought I'd have a go at putting something together on Twitch. I'll be attempting to stream for something like 24 hours, but I thought I'd spread that across 2 days because I value my sanity, not to mention the sanity of my viewers, a little bit too much to attempt it all in one go. We will be solving mostly puzzles that have been specifically made for this event, twin themed puzzles from some of the best puzzle setters in the world. So it's going to be a wonderful event. If we run out of those puzzles, we'll just go to more puzzles by, again, some of the world's best setters that have been put into my recommendation queue. So yeah, it's going to be fantastic. There will be an Amazon wishlist link or just a PayPal link if you appreciate the content and you want to give my partner and I a little bit less to worry about over the next few chaotic months. But I really don't want the event to have like fundraiser vibes. We're not a charity, we're just a family trying to get by with one extra child than we were planning for. But no, it's going to be wonderful. The most important thing is just to come down to my Twitch channel this Friday and Saturday and have a great time celebrating some world-class puzzles. So yes, a link to that, link to my Twitch channel in the description, and a link to Patreon as well. And I'll also try and put a link to a specific post on Patreon about that event, just with extra links and information and stuff like that. Anyway, enough about that. Let's have a look at Buy or Rent by Chinstrap, which is a squish doku, which means we need to, let's actually find the puzzle. Here it is. We need to place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every 3x3 box without repeats in any row or column. You might be looking at this and wondering where the boxes are. Cells on region borders, dashed lines, are shared between multiple boxes. So this is a 3x3 box, which means we need to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in all of these yellow cells. But this is also a 3x3 box, so we need to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in all of these cells, and we need to do so without any repeats in the rows or the columns. So these 3 digits here, let's say this is a 2, that will be part of box 1, the yellow box, and box 2, the pink box. So that's how Squish Doku works. And we have XVs, so digits separated by the V will sum to 5. That could be a 1 and a 4, or a 3 or a 2, or something like that. And digits separated by the X sum to 10, so that could be a 6 and a 4, or a 9 and a 1. Whoops, 1. Something like that. Right, now for the twist. Because this is actually 2 puzzles. I will be solving 2 puzzles for you in this video. In the first puzzle, these will be numbered rooms clues. So outside clues represent the digit placed in the nth position, looking into the grid in the row or column, where n is the digit in the first position. So if we were to place a 2 here, for example, then that's the first digit looking into the grid from this 3 clue. So it's saying place a 3 in the second position, or position 2. so that would be a 3. Or if this were a 6 instead, it would be position 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be a 3. So that's how these clues work in this puzzle. Later on, we will be attempting this puzzle, which is exactly the same, except all of the clues are now skyscraper clues. So Chinstrap has been incredibly clever and made a collection of clues that works as a puzzle, as numbered room clues, and also as skyscraper clues. Yeah, it's a brilliant concept. I'm very much looking forward to trying both puzzles. Let's double check we're recording. We are recording. The microphone's on. Everything's going well. I think yes, we're. But yeah, I'll just click that button. I don't think it did anything, but it makes me feel a bit happier that things probably aren't going wrong. Let's solve it. Here we go then. So this is the numbered rooms edition. And with numbered rooms, there are a few tricks. When we have these three clues, all in a row, we're saying that, well, I mean, this is powerful. This is more powerful in Squish Doku. This is more powerful in Squish Doku because not only are we saying that these digits clue where the 3s go in these 3 columns, we're also saying that there must be 3 3s in these 3 columns, which isn't a given in Sudoku. In Squish Doku. In Sudoku it is, because in every column we need the digits 1 to 9, but not necessarily in Squish Doku. So if we put a 3 here, for example, that's already existing in this box, box 2, and in box 5. So we only need a 3 in box 8 somewhere, this box here, maybe here, for example, and then we're fine. We don't need any more 3s in the central 3 columns of the puzzle. In fact, we can't have any more 3s. So the only way that we're going to get 3 3s into these 3 columns is if we specifically avoid these kind of overlap cells, the cells that belong to box 2 and box 5, or box 5 and box 8. So actually there must be a 3 in here, which means in here the digit that clues that there must be a 3 in the 4th row down is going to be a 4. So somewhere there will be like a 4 here, cluing a 3 just here, because of how numbered rooms works. So yes, we get that as our first kind of pencil mark. Now this is saying we want a clue that tells us where the 4 goes in this row. And clearly it's going in position 3, 4 or 5. But why? What would happen if we tried to make this a 4? Well, it would be saying place a 4 in position 4, and now we've got 2 4s in the row. So we're not allowed to do that. So that's not a 4, so that's not a 4, so that's not a 3 in the middle of the grid. Another thing we can say is that one of our 3s must be in this box. And we've already said it can't be in these overlap cells. And it can't be in one of these either, because if we tried to put a 3 here, the clue that's telling us that there's a 3 here would have to be a 1, because it's in position 1 in the column. So it would have to be simultaneously a 1 and a 3, and we don't like that. So actually it's going to be in row 2, meaning that there's a 2 in here. And then the last 3, I think we know a lot less about it. It's going to be over here somewhere. Okay, well I can't rule out this cell. That can't be a 3, because from this clue, that would be a 3 cluing the 3. I've still forgotten. Shall I do that right now? I'm actually going to go into the settings. Am I? Yes, we're going to take the 3 in the corner effect off, because if you're watching my videos, there's an extremely high chance that you know about the 3 in the corner meme, but if you don't, it's not worth explaining, and it's just insular for no reason. So let's not do that. Right. So where do we look next? Well, I'm going to make these 2, 4, 6, 7, just because that's where all of our 3s are positioned. But that's not a 7 and that's not a 4. So we definitely have a 4 in here. So this is 3 or 5. What does that tell us? Do we need to think about the 1s? It's not quite as restricted here because this one isn't in the same kind of block of 3 rows as the others. The 3s were more powerful because they were all in the same block of 3 columns. So we could say a lot more about those. But yeah, I'm less convinced about this. Okay, this 5 is mildly interesting because we can't put a 5 on the V clue because it would be going with a 0, and 0 is not a digit in this puzzle. So, and we can't make this a 1, cluing that there's a 5 here because then that would be simultaneously 1 and 5, just like before. So this is either a 4, can't be a 5 because a 5 would put 2 5s in the column. So it's a 4 or a 6 or a 7. So that, right. Right, well that's not a coincidence, is it? That's been deliberately set by Chinstrap. So there is a 5 in one of these 1 clues, which means one of these is cluing a 1 over here, and it can't be this one. We can't have a 5 up here because that would be putting a 1 in here. We've already said that's not a 1 based on our pencil marks. So that's actually not a 7. And there's a 5. I don't like this pencil mark, but there is a 5 in here with a 1 in here. So if this is not a 6, if this is a 2 or a 4, then we do get a 1-3 pair just here. That feels like it's trying to be interesting. Right, what else? This one, yeah, annoyingly, the thing about the digit 1, well, a 1 clue as a numbered rooms clue. So usually we can't put a 1 here because that would be cluing that the 3 is in position 1. So this is simultaneously 3 and 1. And similarly, the 5 is in position 1 looking upwards. So this would simultaneously be 5 and 1. We've used that trick a couple of times. But that isn't as useful when the clue is 1 because a 1 here is telling you that there is a 1 here, which there already is, if that makes sense. So this can be a 1. It can't be a 2 because we've pencil marked 2 into here. It can't be a 3, 4 or 5 because we can't put a 1 in position 3, 4 or 5. And it can't be a 7. Okay, so this has actually come right down to 1 or 6. Can't be a 7 because we don't have a 1 in that cell as an option. Here we go. I've got a digit. Okay, it's this digit here. What happens if we try to make this a 5? Well, the effect of that is that this cell needs to be describing where 5 is in this column, and it would be in position 7, counting from this end. But putting a 7 here, what does it do to this 3? It puts a 3 over here. Can we put a 3 here? No, because we've pencil marked that as 4 or 6. So we can't put a 5 here. This is a 3, so that's a 4, that's a 3. That has knocked out one of our 1 pencil marks. So we need a 1 here now, which tells us the 5 is here. That's a 6, this is a 1. This is all just falling into place. Fantastic. Okay, so let's take the 5 out of there. 3's out of those places. That was all very exciting. 4, I suppose, can come out of there. Right, what do we want to do now? Well, this is a 2-3 pair because it's not a 1 and a 4, summing to 5. And now this, surely it doesn't have many options. It's 4 or 7. Because if it was 8 or 9, we would be placing a 1 outside the grid. There are only 7 rows and columns in this puzzle. So, yeah, it's just not 1, 2, 3, 5, or 6 based on that. So it's a 4 or 7. There's a 1 in... I cannot click today. I don't know what's going on. Maybe a bit of dust on the mouse pad or something. Anyway, yeah, so we get that position. So, yeah, I don't see why that can't be a 9. Right, I've just thought actually. We don't have anything in the puzzle. Excuse me. We don't have anything in the puzzle that's disambiguating 8s and 9s, because we can never have an 8 or 9 as one of these clues, because that would be cluing a digit to land outside the grid, and none of these clues themselves are 8 or 9. So the only thing that could be introducing an 8 or a 9 into the puzzle is this X. And that would be able to disambiguate the 8 from the 9. So, I mean, we can make a meta deduction from that, which is that if we are allowed to assume that this puzzle does have a unique solution, then this X cannot be a 4-6 pair, because we need to have an 8 or 9 on here, so that we've got some kind of grasp on where the 8s and 9s go. But I'm not going to use that deduction, and even if I wanted to, I don't see how it's useful. Right, let's think a bit harder about other things. This. Where can a 3 go in this row? It's not in position 1 or position 3. It could be 2, 4, 5. It's not in position 6 because that would put the digit 6 here. There's already 6 in the row. So I think it's 2, 4, or 5. Oh, hold on. Oh, no. Right, okay. It's these dashed lines. They're confusing me. Yeah, this is a 2-3 pair entirely contained within box 9. I was thinking it's kind of spilling into box 6, which it is, but it's simultaneously entirely contained within this box. So that means that we can't have any more 3s in box 9. So there is a 3 here, which means this is our 6 or 7, and this is our 2. So there's a 3. It also means this can't be a 5 anymore. Oh, actually, yeah, of course it couldn't be a 5. Oh, in fact, I know what it is. Right, okay. It couldn't have been a 5 because that would have been placing a 5 up here from the 5 clue, placing 2 5s in column 1. Now, if we made this a 4, we'd be placing a 5 here. And what do we put next to a 5 on an X? We put another 5, which is silly, certainly with these rules. So that's going to be a 2, which places a 5 here, a 3 here. That puts a 3 here, which needs to be clued by a 6 in that column. Oh, I've just noticed this 2 clue. When did that appear? I haven't thought about that at all, but it means we can get a 7 just here, because that's describing where the 2 goes in the column. So we've actually done most of the clues already. We don't have many left. Right, I can use a trick. I might use the trick in a minute if I run out of things to do, but let's just do some normal kind of... I want to call it normal Sudoku, but it's Squish Doku, I guess. Ruling 3 out of the rest of row 6. Have we finished our 3s now? I think we've got a 3 in every box. Yeah, I know it looks like we've only got 6 3s, but that's all we need to fill all 9 boxes because of the overlaps. Right, I think I want to try the trick. Yeah. Is there any lower hanging fruit? There probably is. No, I'm going to introduce you to a trick of Squish Doku that I happen to know because I've done a lot of Squish Doku and I love it. There are so many kind of hidden secrets within Squish Doku. I'm going to highlight these 9 cells in yellow because yellow is a fun colour. Can we have any repeated digits in those 9 cells? So let's say this one. Well, no, let's take the 2 that we've already got. Can we put 2 anywhere else in these 9 cells? Well, clearly we can't put it for a second time in column 5. And it's already appeared in box 3. And it's already appeared in box 2. So we can't put it there or there either. So we can't put 2 anywhere else in this cross shape. And it's the same with 3. And it's the same with every digit that we place here. We can't have any repeats in yellow. And there are 9 cells in yellow. So what does that mean? If we've got 9 digits and we can't repeat any of them in these 9 cells, we must have all of them exactly once. So I'm going to ask where 1 goes in this cross shape, given that it's not in box 2, it's not in box 3. Well, I mean, we've already got our 1s in boxes 2 and 3. So it must be over here. But we've already said that there's a 1 in one of those positions because of this 1 clue. So now this has to be a 1. It can't be that one. And now because of this 1, that's not a 1. That's a 1. So there's a 9. This has to be a 7 to clue that 1. And we are away. I think that's all of the clues done. Yeah, I think it is. Okay. Where does 1 go in this box? It's here. Is that all of our 1s? It might be, you know. Yeah, it is. It's we had 6 3s. We've only got 5 1s, but that's okay. That's all we needed. There's another secret of Squish Doku which I won't go into because it's much harder to prove, but you can prove it, which is that the digits that appear in these 5 cells will appear exactly 5 times in total in the puzzle, and the digits that appear in these 4 cells will appear exactly 6 times in the puzzle in total. Yeah, so I guess we'll look out for those. Right, and I know what the middle digit is because of another secret of Squish Doku. So the middle digit, where does it go in this box? And let's just ignore the numbers that we've already placed in, and actually let's get rid of the yellow as well, because that's not helpful. This digit, where does it go in this top box? It must be in one of these wings, because this cell sees this kind of T shape. So let's just say, for example, that we choose the left wing here. Now, where does this cell, which we'll call yellow, it goes here, it goes in here. Where does it go in this box? Well, now it's this central cell sees the T shape again, but this digit, this yellow digit, wherever it is, will see this domino. So actually, yellow has to go over here. And you can ask the same question about this box. These cells in the T shape are all seen by the central cell, and this domino is seen by the yellows that we've placed elsewhere. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that yellow goes in both of those cells. I'm saying that yellow will go in one of those, potentially. We'll come back to this example. But yeah, the point is that yellow will go here in the bottom box and then here in box 6. And that takes care of all of the corner boxes as well. So this digit will either go in a kind of windmill pattern like this, or it will go in the kind of symmetrically opposite windmill pattern. And that's basically doing exactly the same logic, but just hypothesizing that it goes on the right side of box 2 instead of the left side. So we're either in an all yellow world or an all red world for the central digit. So it must be 1, 2, 3, or 4, but it's not 1 or 3. And I thought there was a reason it's not 2. Yeah, it's not 2 either. It can't be 2, because then 2 couldn't go in either of the red cells in box 9 or either of the yellow cells in box 9. Yeah, or you could think of it like this. Where does 2 go on this cross shape? In fact, the only place it can go, well, the only 2 places it can go is over here, and they both see the central cell. So the central cell is not 2, it's not 1 or 3, it is 4, which tells us we're actually in the yellow world. So let's get rid of red. Whoops, there we go. So there is a 4 in here, there's a 4 here, there's a 4 in here. There we go. Nice. And we can probably get rid of yellow again. Lovely. We'll probably utilise that trick in the next puzzle as well, I imagine. Right. So we've almost finished the 4s. We've done the 1s, haven't we? What about 2s? We can get a 2. Oh, hold on. I made this 2 pencil mark, but clearly we can't repeat a 2 in box 7. So that's a 2. Oh, let's try that again. That's a 2. 2 in box 6. Yeah, that's very restricted. Yeah, it goes there. Can't repeat in box 3. Among other things, 2 goes up here now, specifically. That's the only place in box 4. And actually, that's all of the 2s done. Nice. Alright, so we've done the 1s, done the 2s, done the 3s, almost done the 4s. I guess we look at 5s. 5 in box 2 has to go in one of those cells, which means that's also where it goes in box 5. So, where does it go in box 8? Well, it can't repeat in box 5. It's not any of these digits, and it can't repeat in box 7. So that's a 5, which places a 5 just there. 5 in box 9 goes here, and I think that's all the 5s. Yeah, we've got 5 5s, and it's in one of these 5 cells, which means we only need 5 copies of the digit in the whole puzzle. So I guess we look at 6s next. Okay, 6 in box 3 is over there. Yeah, okay. This is looking a bit trickier. I'm not actually liking that. I don't think we can get much of a grasp on where 6s go. Should we try 7s? Where does 7 go in box 7? It pairs up with this 4 to make a 4-7 pair. And this now is 6, 8, and 9, but that's not a 9. That's not a 6. Should we pencil these in? This is just an 8-9 pair. Right, so where do 8 and 9 go in box 3? They go in here. Whoops. Which means the 4 pencil mark that we just made gets shifted over to there, which shifts the 6 pencil mark to there. So now where is 6 in box 1? It's there. So that means we can't repeat the 6 in box 4. So that actually just resolves all of that for us. The 8 can't repeat in box 5, so that all gets done. This seems to be a 7. I think we're closing in here. This needs 8 and 7, and we know the order by Sudoku. That's a 6. What are these digits? 6, 7, 8, I think, so that's an 8. No, hold on. No, that is an 8, but it's not 6, 7, and 8. It's 7, 8, and 9. Okay, alright, so that's a 9, that's a 7, that's a 7, that's a 4, and that's the puzzle. Fantastic, loved that. Yeah, and what's really interesting is that a lot of those clues really felt like they were deliberately numbered rooms clues. So the fact that we're about to solve a puzzle where all of the clues are the same, except they're now skyscraper clues, is really fascinating because, you know, like, I loved that this had to be 4, 6, or 7, and they just so happened to line up with where the one clues are, and that break in with the 3 3s. That's a classic numbered rooms kind of break in, and it was really well presented. So yeah, that really felt like a deliberately numbered rooms puzzle. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing if the skyscraper puzzle feels like a deliberate skyscraper puzzle, or if it feels like it's just kind of coincidentally unique, um, using the same clues. We'll find out, I guess. Anyway, beautiful puzzle, lovely stuff. Let's check that we're recording, which we are. Fantastic, half an hour in, lovely. And then switch over to here. So now we get to ignore the bit in the rules I've written above that says numbered rooms, because now we get to look over to what I've labelled 2 skyscrapers. Clues outside the grid represent how many digits are seen by the clue looking into its row or column. Digits are visible when they are larger than all digits before them. All other rules are the same. So what that means is we could maybe put a 5, 2, 3, 8, 1, 9, 6 in here, and if we imagine that we're here, and each of these numbers represents a skyscraper of that height, so 5 stories on this skyscraper, 2 stories on this skyscraper, etc., we would be able to see the 5-story skyscraper. The 2 would be hidden behind the 5, as would the 3. The 8 would poke over the top of the 5, so we would be able to see that. The 1 would be hidden, the 9 would poke over the top of the 8, so we'd be able to see that, and the 6 would be hidden by the 9. So we can see 3 skyscrapers, which makes that 3 clue valid. And that's how skyscrapers work. So let's restart the timer and try this puzzle all over again. Okay, so okay, all right. I can see 2 things already. Oh, this is lovely, and yeah, I mean already this feels like a deliberate skyscraper puzzle because the logic. Oh, it's gorgeous. Right, okay. Let me explain what I'm seeing. First of all, these 3 threes are a good starting point again. This time, the reason they're a good starting point is because there must be a 9 in this box here. And the moment you put a 9 in a column, everything else behind it in that column gets hidden. So if we put a 9 here, we can't have more skyscrapers poking over the top of that 9. So this should be a 1 clue. It doesn't work. If we put a 9 here, we would be able to see whatever skyscraper goes in here, but nothing behind the 9. So this would be a 2 clue. So actually we can't have a 9 in either of these positions. Same applies to this 3 clue, same applies to this 3 clue. So actually the 9 in box 2 does go here. But actually I think what's even more interesting than that is these 1 clues. Usually in a skyscraper puzzle, a skyscraper Sudoku puzzle, a 1 clue is telling you that the 9 in the row or column must go next to the clue, because if it went anywhere else, it would be able to be seen above whatever digit you put in there. But in Squishdoku, that isn't necessarily the case, because we might not have a 9 in this row. We might not have a 9 in this row. So, and this is now being forced because there are 3 1 clues, so we can't make all of them 9. We have to make one of them an 8 and one of them a 7 at best. And if we put a 7 there, we can just about make it work if all 6 of these are lower than 7. In other words, we don't have 8 or 9 in this row. Excuse me, so that's exactly what we're going to have to do. So this actually is a 7, 8, 9 triple. If we made this a 6, one of these 6 cells would have to contain a digit higher than 6. We can't make all of them lower than 6, and so we would expect this clue to be a 2. Alright, so this is 7, 8, 9. Which means this can't be a 9, because this being a 9 would be simultaneously in this box ruling 9 out of those 2, but also in this box ruling 9 out of this one. But we know that one of these 3 must be a 9. Okay, Already that is a lovely start. Right. Okay, I'm going to claim this is not 9. Because if this was a 9, we wouldn't be able to see any of those, so we would see a maximum of 1, 2, 3, 4 skyscrapers from this 5 clue, but we need to see 5. So one of these will be a 9. If this is a 7, then all of these digits are from 1 to 6, and this would have to be a 4 and a 6. Maybe that's okay. Whichever one of these is 7 has the digits 1 to 6 behind it. Okay, I'm not sure. Where do we look next? Maybe it is this one. So if this is an 8, then we need to see all 3 of these. And I think the only way we could do that is if it goes 1, 2, 3. If this was a 1, 4 pair, the 1 would be hidden by whatever digit that is. So it has to be a 2, 3 pair. They have to be both visible, so the 3 is above the 2. And then that digit has to be visible and not hiding the 2. So yeah, that would be 1, 2, 3. Is there a problem with that? I don't think so. I think that would have to be the case if this is an 8 or if this is a 9 or both. Because we're never going to see this cell from this 5 clue. This is a bit trickier than the first one, or at least it is for me. Maybe there's something I'm not appreciating. Ah! Right, no, I have got a digit, actually. Yeah. The question is, where is 9 in this box? And the pencil marked 9s that we've got over here rule it out of the rest of box 5 and this row. It's not a 7 or 8. It's certainly not on a V clue. And can it go here? And the answer is no, because then we would expect this 1 clue to be a 2. So there's a 9. I think... Oh, this is weird, but I think this is a 9 as well. Because if this is a 9... Yeah, okay, that's not actually too difficult to see. Where does 9 go in box 1 if that's a 9? And the answer is, it goes in the same row as whichever one of these is not a 9. I think because of this 4 clue, we would know that it goes in here. But the point is then, this would be not a 9, and then that would break this 1 clue over here. We would see this 7 or 8 and this 9. So I don't think we're allowed to put a 9 just here. So that's a 9. So we have effectively like a thermometer coming up here. That needs to be lower than that, which needs to be lower than 9 and will be. Okay, so now I'm thinking about 9 in box 8, which is over there. 9 in box 7 is in one of those, but putting it in any of those would would make these clues too low. We would expect them to be a 1 or a 2, so that has to be a 9, that has to be a 9. The worrying thing is that I feel like we might end up like finishing all the 9s in the puzzle, In fact, I think we basically have. We just don't know which of those is a 9. That's the only ambiguity left on 9s. But I don't know really how much that's progressed us. I mean, I can see that in this 2 clue, we're not going to see a 9 anymore, so I mean, we can't make that an 8. If there is an 8 in this column, it is the highest digit in the column. Oh no, come on, Stuart, don't get stuck. This digit, okay, there is not a 9 in this column. So the highest we could make this is a 4 if we see a 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 in some order. Okay, so let's put 1, 2, 3, 4 there. It's not great, but it's something. Oh, hold on. Can I do more with this? I was thinking about this earlier. Right. Okay, so the most number of skyscrapers that we can see in the top 4 cells of this column are 3. If we have a 7, an 8, and a 9, this digit is just going to be lower than 7, 8, and 9. It's going to be hidden behind this skyscraper. So, yeah, so we can see those 3. We'll definitely see the first one, obviously. Nothing can possibly block it. But it does mean we do need to see at least one of these. So, so this needs to be less than at least one digit that appears on a V clue. And given that V's have to be 1, 4, or 2, 3, this has to be 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so these are all fairly low digits. But what does that mean? Yeah, in an act of desperation, I'm also going to make this 3, 4, 6, 7. If I mean, obviously, it can't be a 1, 9 pair, summing to 10, and it can't be a 2, 8 pair because that would make this a 7, and then the 7 and the 8 would both be visible for this one clue. Right, come on. I've been kind of avoiding thinking about these 3s. Maybe I should think harder. So, is it something like, where does 7 go? No, I don't like that. Okay, well, here's something. It's not much, but from the perspective of this 4 clue, this will always be visible because this 1 clue is basically saying this is the highest digit in this row. Is it 8? Right, I'm going to ask where 8 goes in this box. Because 8 can't go here. We can't possibly have 2 more skyscrapers poking over the top of an 8. So it's going to be in here, but I think it also can't be here. Yeah, because if there is an 8 in this column, it is the highest digit in this column. We've already said that because we don't have a 9 in the column, so that is not an 8. Oh, but that's an atrocious pencil mark, isn't it? That is no good. I mean, this looks very likely to be an 8. Mind you, if that's an 8, then yeah, if either of these two are an 8, then it doesn't matter what we put in here. These clues will be sorted. If that's an 8, then that needs to be higher than that. And weirdly, if that's an 8, then that needs to be higher than that. to make these 3 clues work. Oh, hold on. No, that's not an 8. For the same reason it wasn't a 9 right at the beginning of the puzzle. Because 8 by box 3 and box 6, an 8 here rules itself out of this entire 7, 8, 9 triple. So we're definitely narrowing down where 8 can go in box 2, but how useful really is it? Oh, come on, don't get stuck. If this is a 7, we can't have an 8 over here, so that would be an 8. And these would all be from 1 to 6. This would be a 9. This would be an 8. We'd get an 8 here. An 8 down here. Oh, this 5 clue puts the 8 there, I suppose. Do I need to be thinking more about this 5 clue? Oh, I don't know. I mean, okay. Something we can say is that we can't put an 8 in here. But that still leaves so many positions an 8 can go in this box. Something needs to give soon, and I'm not seeing anything. And this is not meant to be an enormously difficult puzzle. Right. Honestly, if I did say when I first started making these YouTube videos on a weekly basis, I didn't want to be one of those YouTubers who has like unshakable pride about like the purity of the solves, which is a long way of saying at some point if I get completely stuck, I'll just pause the recording, and save you all the bother of watching me just look at a puzzle bewilderedly. I'll give it a couple more minutes before I resort to that because I'd love to show you my entire thought process if I can, but if I'm not having a thought process, there's no point keeping the camera on. Okay, let's. What do we focus on? I'm probably missing something obvious. What is the obvious thing I'm missing? What could it be? If this is a 1, then this is bigger than that. 8s there do nothing to these 3 clues. I really don't want to think about these 3 clues. They just seem far too loose. This can't be particularly high. Okay. Is that a thing? Okay, we're going to investigate this cell. So this cell, well, by normal skyscraper logic, is a maximum of 6. Okay, and that's enough to do what I want to do with it. Yeah, we could have a 6 there and then potentially a 7, 8, 9 or something like that to make that 4 clue work. But if that's a 6, can we have 6 lower digits than 6 in this column? No, we can't. So this 5 clue is never seeing that cell. So this 5 clue is seeing 5 out of these 6 cells. It's a tiny win. Like, for example, if that's a 3 now, then it can't be seen because it can't be seen over 3 other different digits. And so we would know that all 5 of these are seen, which might be interesting. It would actually take an 8 out of the column, I think. No, an 8 or a 7. So I'm just thinking, if this is 3, 7, then this can't be seen and this also can't be seen. Let's shade them red. So these all have to be seen. So this needs to be the highest digit in the column, and this needs to be the second highest digit in the column. But it can't be a 7. So it would have to be a maximum of 6. So if it's a 6, and that's the second highest digit in the column, then that implies that we are missing 2 out of 7, 8, and 9. Well, we already know that we're missing 9 from the column. So the other digit that's missing from the column would be a 7 or an 8, if that's a 6 and the second highest digit in the column, and then that would be a 7 or an 8. And so we would need 1, 2, 4, and 5 in the column. No, wait, that doesn't work because that could be a 6. I'm confusing myself here. But I think this would have to be a 1. No, because that could be a 1. That could go 2, 4, 5, 6, 8. With a 1 just there. No, this is not what we're meant to be doing. Right, oh, hold on. I need to go back. We don't know if that's a 3, 7 pair or not. It would be very useful if it was, because then that would be an 8. But even then, I don't really know what we do with that information. Okay, here's the thing. If we do put an 8 in here, then it does go with a 9 over there. But what does that even mean? All that means is that, well, these will all already be hidden. That doesn't help at all. I must be missing something absolutely obvious. I must be. Yeah, I'm actually going to pause the video because I've made no progress in about 10 minutes, I think. And I also need to go and get a drink anyway, so I'll be back in about, well, because of the magic of video editing, about a second. Alright, I'm back, and it's taken me a very long time to make any progress in this. I'm really quite surprised. I wasn't expecting it to be too tough, but there's clearly something I'm not just grasping. I have found a deduction, and I really don't know what it's going to do. I think it's going to do one thing that will give us 3 digits, but I don't know where we're going to go from there. Anyway, I'll tell you what it is, because I did want to unpause the recording the moment I got even the slightest deduction, but I don't think it's going to send the solution path toppling over. The question I asked myself is, can this be 7, 8, 9? Because if this is not 7, 8, 9, then we are only going to see 2 of these, and therefore we need to see all 3 of these, and the only way to make that work is with a 1, 2, 3. So if we can prove that this is not 7, 8, 9 in specifically that order, then we've got ourselves a 1, 2, and 3, and I think I can prove that, because if that's a 7, and that's an 8, and that's a 9, based on our pencil marks in box 2, we'd get an 8 here, and now the problem is, where does 8 go in box 6, this one? And the answer by Squishdoku is here, but that ruins this one skyscraper. So that is not possible. I don't know if that's an intended step, but the point is, I don't think we can actually rule any possibility. Oh no, actually we can. We can take 8 out of here, because an 8 there specifically makes this a 7 and a 9, and we've just proven that that doesn't work. Yeah, so I think if this is an 8... Sorry, let's actually just do the result of that conclusion, which is that these three must all be seen, and therefore they must be 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So I suppose we can take a 1 out of there. So 1 will never be seen in this column, neither will 9. And we might be going back into being very stuck, but we'll try not to be. Yeah, that was a tricky step. This is listed as a 3-star puzzle on Logic Masters, so it's not going to be a trivial puzzle, but I would expect to be always able to at least sense where the next step is, and that felt hard. But anyway, let's keep looking. So, it looks like I want to rule something out of here. Or do I want to rule 8 out of here? If this is an 8, then where does 8 go in this box? It has to go in here. Right, I think something that I've kind of subconsciously appreciated while I was on that big break, fetching a drink and trying to work out the next step, is that none of these 6 cells can be an 8. Because if any of them are an 8, they make this a 7, but we've said that the 7 in here needs the digits 1 to 6 to the left of it. So this can't be an 8. So if this... so let's just go back. So at the beginning of our kind of hypothesis here is we're hypothesizing an 8 into here. I think that means this has to be an 8. But I don't know what that means. It could mean anything, really. I think in this box, an 8 now goes here, because it can't go here. Because of this 5 clue. This 5 clue wouldn't be able to get up to 5 skyscrapers seen if that was an 8. So I think in this box we put an 8 here, because an 8 here would ruin the 4 clue. Right, which means that this is a 9, and that's a 7. Because if that's a 7, we need all of these to be from 1 to 6. Okay. Alright, see, that's a huge kind of bifurcation. And it hasn't really told me anything, but it's at least given me a sense of where to look, because now I'm thinking that the pressure is something to do with an 8. Is it inevitable that an 8 goes in one of these 6 cells? And if that is true, then that's a 9. Again, I don't know really how much that's going to progress the solve, but we'll take it if it does, if we can do anything with it. So if we try to make this a 7, yeah, I think we just can't, because a 7 here forces an 8 into here, because we can't have an 8 peeking over the top of a 7. So, and then that's where we started our kind of bifurcation. But that whole bifurcation put an 8 here. Let's see if we can do it a little bit more directly, though. So a 7 there. We get an 8 here. Yeah, and I think it's a bit more simple than... Yeah, we don't even need to place that 8. If we try making this a 7, then we can't put an 8 in here, so that becomes an 8. And now where does an 8 go in this box? We're not allowed to make it peek over the top of a 7. We can't repeat it in box 2, we can't repeat it in row 3, and we can't make it appear too early on for this 4 clue to work. So we do have another digit. It's this one. This can't be a 7, it's a 9. But the 9 is the least useful one of these, because all that's saying is, well, it's not saying anything. We now know that there isn't a 9 in this row, but we kind of knew that there wouldn't be a 9 in the row that didn't have the 9 in it. Oh dear. Right, this solve has gone downhill, hasn't it? What am I meant to be noticing next? And will I have to pause to find it? Oh, I really hope I don't. That numbered rooms puzzle was just so smooth. It was so gorgeous. A really, really lovely puzzle. And this started really smooth as well, and then I just got badly stuck. And I don't want to let Chinstrap down by failing to showcase this puzzle in the best possible way. I mean, this looks quite likely to be 7, because I'm expecting all of these to be relatively low, probably. If this is a 7, none of these are 8. These just, well, this would be a 4-6 pair, and this would be the digits 1, 2, 3, and 5. The 3 would go over here. If this is a 7, I feel like that's less likely to be a 7, so let's try and prove that that's not a 7. If it's a 7, yeah, this would be an 8. Because where does an 8 go in this box? Actually, that's not a terrible question. Where does an 8 go in this box? There's a 7-8 pair here, so putting an 8 in any of those positions rules 8 out of both of those options, but we know 8 does go in one of them, so 8 can't go in here. We've already said that 8 can't go in any of these, or in fact in any of those. Oh, should I be thinking about that a bit more? Maybe I should. Because an 8 in any of these makes this a 7 and means that these all have to be from 1 to 6. So 8 can't go in here, 8 can't go in here. So 8 is reduced to those options for box 6. If this is an 8, that seems like a very normal thing for this 2 clue. We just need that to be bigger than that. And from the perspective of this 3 clue, that seems absolutely fine as well. So this being an 8, this is an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into here. I'm going to have to pause again, aren't I? I do apologise. But I hope... No, I don't apologise. I hope it's better viewing for me to just pause until I've got a deduction than to just waste the next however many minutes of your viewing time. Should we do that? Yeah. Alright. Hopefully it'll be the last time. I'll be back soon. Alright, I think I have another breakthrough. But I found this really, really tough. I was just looking at the comments on the puzzle on LMD, actually, while I was trying to find some kind of hint about the difficulty of this puzzle, and it looks like some people just breezed through this, but others found it significantly harder than the numbered rooms puzzle. So it's really interesting to see what different people find difficult, because it's not predictable at all. Anyway, right, I think I can disprove that this is an 8. So we've already talked about these 6 cells not being 8 a couple of times, because that would make that a 7, and that would mean that these would all have to be from the digits 1 to 6. We've said that several times. Exactly the same applies to these 6 cells. None of those can be 8 for exactly the same reason. So if we were to put an 8 in here, where does the 8 go in box 6? It has to go, but it actually has to go in one of those two. We've already said it can't go there, so it would go here. Where does the 8 go in boxes 1 and 3? By Squishdoku, they would be in these positions, but we've already said they can't be in those positions. So they would be looking at each other in row 2. We would need an 8 there and an 8 there for box 1. Wow, okay, I found that really tough. But anyway, that means that this is not an 8. And that's important because, do you remember from the first puzzle, we said that these yellow cells all had to be different? They all see each other. We can't repeat whatever. Well, this 9, for example, forget the fact that we've already placed all of our 9s. Even if we hadn't, we would know that 9 doesn't repeat in any of these by box logic, or by row logic. And that applies to all 9 digits in these 9 cells. So there must be 9 different digits. So where is the 8 in this collection of yellow cells? Given that we've already pencil marked an 8 into here in box 2, none of those can be 8s. We've already said that those two can't be 8s because they see both opportunities to put an 8 in this 7-8 pair. And we've already said that this can't be an 8 because we've said that these 6 cells can't be an 8. So this is now an 8. And that's surely going to open up the puzzle, because that means that this is our 7, this is an 8. This 7 can only see the digits 1 to 6 behind it. So this must be a 4-6 pair, and this must be 1, 2, 3, and 5, but there's no 3 in box 6. And surely the puzzle just breaks apart, and I'm definitely recording. Good. Wow, okay. Tough step, but fair enough. We're making progress now. What do we want to do next? Do we want to put an 8? Yes, we do. We want to put an 8 into box 4. And the only place is there, which prevents this from being a repeated 8 in box 1. So this is an 8, which doesn't really tell us anything, because whatever digit we put here, we'll be able to see that digit, the 8 and the 9 in this column. This 2, well, in this column, the 8 is the highest digit. So this 2 needs to see this digit and this digit. This is a bigger digit than this one. And we only actually have 4, 5, 6, and 7 left in that box. So let's pencil that in. That can't be the 4, that can't be the 7. Because we need that to be, this to be lower than this. Okay. Come on, let's keep this going. What do we look at next? Is it this 5 clue? Is it relevant that we've narrowed that down to 4 or 6? If this is an 8, then we need to see all 5 of these digits. So I think this would have to be a 6. And that would be a 4 or 5, 3 or 4, and a 2 or 3. Oh, in fact, if that's a 6, that would be a 4, so it would be a 5 there. Is that ruled out at all? I don't think so. This digit? This digit sees a lot of things, doesn't it? It sees all of this 1, 2, 3, 5 quad. It also sees a 7, 8, and 9. So I think it's only 4 or 6. Okay. So if this is a 5, then out of nowhere we've got a 4, 5, 6, 7 quad in the column, so these would be from 1, 2, and 3, but that's not enormously surprising, I don't think. Oh no, don't fail me now. This digit is 4 or 6 as well. Where do these two digits... Oh, is it? Yes. Let's call 4 and 6... No, let's call 4 and 6 yellow and pink. Where do yellow and pink go in here? So the 4 and the 6. They must both go up there. So where do 4 and 6 go in this box? We can't repeat them in row 3. One of them obviously does go where we've got 4, 6 marked. Those are all out of bounds. And this one is out of bounds because it repeats in box 4. So this is a 4, 6 pair. But we don't know which colours. I'm going to get rid of the colours for now. We can't really relate them to each other. Right. Oh, no, but that is important. That's really gorgeous because these 4 6s are different and they both see these two cells. That sees that by box and that by column, and same with that one. So neither of these can be 4 or 6. So that is a 5, that's a 7. That's a 4, 6 pair, which means that the other 4 or 6 in this box goes over here. I did not expect this puzzle to turn into a puzzle where we chase around 4s and 6s. But that's 1, 2, and 5 to complete the box. Okay. That's not 2, for what that's worth, because 2 in this box seems to have to go in one of those two places. Ah, which also rules it out from here. That could be useful. Given that there are 2 in here. Now what? Come on, that was a really good flurry of activity. Let's not stop now. So if this is an 8, I think this has to be 6, 5, 4, 3. What's wrong with that? I don't know. But I can't be pausing the video again. That would just be... I can't call myself a Sudoku YouTuber if I'm having to pause 3 times to try and give myself a bit more time to solve the puzzle. Come on, what are we missing now? 7. 7 in box 5. There we go. That's a simple deduction. It's there. It can't repeat in box 8. So 7 in box 6, if it is over there. 7 in box... what's it called? Box 3 is over there. Ah. Right. And if that's a 7, then 7 in box 1 goes in here. Is that possible? Given that all we can see so far is an 8. So if we were to put a 7 even here, as far away from the clue as possible, the best we could do is see this skyscraper being a 7, and this 8. So I don't think we're going to put a 7 there. Let's put a 7 there instead, which means that these two are both now visible, because we're not going to have a 9 over here blocking the view to this from this 4 clue to this 7 and 8. So they're both visible. These are 1, 2, 3, and 5, but those aren't 5. So we need to see 3 of these coming down this column. If that's a 3... Yeah, okay, alright, so we definitely see this 4 or 6, and we definitely see this 8. Because whatever this is, it's higher than 1, 2, and 3. Right, okay, so we see those two. So we can't see both of those two. We need this to block the view to this. So it's 2 or 3, and that's 1 or 2. But that creates the 1, 2 pair in the column, so that's a 3. Okay. Right, and surely this is a 5, I think, because these 1, 2s are different, and they both see this cell, so that's a 5. By box logic. Right, and this 1, 2 pair takes 1 and 2 out of here. That's a 3, 5 pair. So that must be 1 or 2 to complete box 5. I don't want to get complacent, but I think things might be coming together a bit. One thing that might have helped me a little bit earlier is crossing off clues when I'm done with them. Like, those are all done now. Based at least based on our pencil marks. Those are all done. This 5 is done. 1, 2, 3, 7, and 9. We can't ruin that with this 4 or 6 here. This 2 is done based on our pencil marks. The 3 is done. This 3 is done regardless of what we put into row 1, column 4. So we don't have many more clues to consider. This 3, 5, this 4, and this... Well, this 3... I mean, we could probably just go mad pencil marking this box. Should we do that? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. But this isn't 1 or 2 based on the row. I mean, this can't be a 6 because we need this digit to be higher than this digit. The only way that we can get that wrong is if we put a 5 here and a 4 here. As in, that's basically what I'm trying to say there, is that that's the only possibility, the only kind of event that's being ruled out by this 3 clue. Everything else will satisfy the 3 clue. But yeah, I'm not sure we were really expecting to put a 5 with a 4 there. It would make this a 6. That would be a 1 or 2. No, I don't know. We'll have to look at a different clue, or maybe it's more squish doku logic. We need, in this box, this 1 or 2 specifically. But it could go anywhere. Should we pencil this one? This needs a 3. That needs the other of 1 and 2. No, come on, don't get stuck again. What am I missing? This has been a brutally difficult puzzle, I don't think this is 3 stars at all. It's got some really, really lovely points in it. But there is just that sneaky suspicion that this puzzle was designed as a numbered rooms puzzle. Well, no, that's harsh. I don't think it's like that at all. I think the break-in for the skyscraper half of this puzzle was gorgeous. It was really nice. There's just been some very tricky points in the mid-solve that have completely stumped me, which makes me feel like it was designed more as a numbered rooms puzzle at first, and maybe clues that might have made the mid-solve of this a little bit easier were not compatible with the numbered rooms version of this puzzle and therefore left out. I mean, that's how I would have set it. That's what I would have done. I would have said, well, look, the numbered rooms puzzle is so good, I don't need to do. I'm not going to add any more clues just to make the skyscraper half of this puzzle smoother. I don't think that's what Chinstrap would do. I think he'd make sure that both puzzles solved very smoothly, and indeed some LMD commenters have said that. But I've just got completely stuck on this one. Come on, what do we need to do? Let's finish this off now. Right, this 4 clue, I haven't really given it much thought. If this is a 6, then 6, 7, and 8 are all visible, which means this can be the only other visible thing. Visible skyscraper. So does it have to be a 5? It has to be a 4 or a 5. Hiding 2 of 1, 2, and 4. That's not doing anything, is it? Right, the world where this was an 8. Forced 6, 5, 4, 3. What's wrong with that? Um, 6, 5, 4. The 4 would go there, and then over there, which would take it out of there. So that would be a 6. That would be a 4. 6 would then go over here. Which seems very natural. Am I missing something blatantly obvious? Just like a Squishdoku deduction or something. What am I missing? I can't see it at all. This is bizarre. I really didn't think a Squishdoku would stump me this much. Right, come on. If that's a 4, that's a 4, that's a 4, that's not a 4. So there's a 4 up here. That's a 4. So it does put the 4 in there, which makes sense. That would be a 4. That would be all the 4s. Is it this? Can that just not be a 7? Oh, is it? Okay. Right, I think that's obvious. If that's a 7, we see a maximum of that cell, that cell, that cell, and then the 8. Wherever the 8 goes. So we can't make that a 7. So that is a 7. Whoops. So do we just get 7 in box 1? I think we do. Okay, alright. That wasn't that difficult. I should have spotted that much faster. Let's triple check we're still recording. Oh, 1 hour and 23. Sorry, this was meant to be a fairly short video. My bad. It's fine. You've got two puzzles for the price of 1 here, so it was always going to be a slightly longer video. Right, 7 there. So if this is an 8, well, if this is not an 8, then we don't get 8 or 9 anywhere in the column, do we? Oh, no. Oh, it's so simple. Where's 8 in box 7? Oh, I'm so sorry. No, I've been told I need to apologise less. But that was available for a very long time. Anyway, right, we've found it. We found the next step, 8 in box 7. And yeah, we should have got this a long time ago because we were focusing a lot on 8s to break through that really tricky mid-game section. So where do we put an 8 in box 7? It's here. I even thought this off camera. I thought if we prove that that's an 8, then that has to be the 8 in box 7. And I didn't follow it up I didn't remember to do it on the camera. Never mind. Right, why is that an 8? It's because, well, now that that's an 8, that rules out all of those positions. It's not 9, it's not 3 or 4, and an 8 here would break this 5 clue. So this is an 8. Now this is an 8, and now these all have to be visible, and the only way to make that work is 6, 5, 4, 3. That's a 4, and I think we can probably do the rest of the puzzle in less than 2 minutes. Let's try it. I shouldn't have said that. That was probably too ambitious. 4, 4, 4. So that makes that a 6, and that's a 4. That's a 4 now. No 4 or 6 just there. This 4 gives us a 4 and a 6. That 6 goes there in box 8, so that places a 2 just there. This needs a 1 and a 3, which we don't seem to know. We'll come back to that, I guess. That's not a 6. If this... No, that's fine. Never mind. Right, come on then. Let's keep going. This... Oh, that's a 5, so that's just a 3 with a 5 and a 3 and a 1. 1 out of there. This 2 makes this 1 and 2, and 2 and 1. 2 comes out of there. 4, 5 pair gives us a 1. And we know the order of the 4, 5 pair because of this 3 clue, so that's the 4, that's the 5. That's really nice, actually, because nothing else is telling us how to order that 4, 5 pair, I don't think. So it's only that 3 clue. So it's doing a kind of end game duty just here, which is really nice because it did a break-in duty in both puzzles, really. I do like it when a clue is used in the break-in and the end game. So that's lovely. So we just need to finish off this box, which needs 1, 2, 3, and 6. 1, 3, 6, and 2. And I didn't really use that 4 clue, so let's just check it's right. 2, 6, 7, 8. Yes, it is. Good. Wow. Okay. Also, don't worry. It says that I've spent 97 minutes on it. A lot of that was going off to fetch a drink and leaving the screen on. So don't worry, I didn't spend over an hour and a half on this puzzle. I spent a long time on it though. Let's get rid of these crosses just to make the final grid look beautiful. Yeah, Chinstrap is clearly, based on these puzzles, someone who is intimately familiar with numbered rooms logic, skyscraper logic, and squishdoku logic, because we used such a wide variety of all three across those puzzles. And yeah, to set that in such a way that the same set of clues works for both puzzles. I mean, like I said, I found it a lot harder for skyscrapers, but yeah, really beautiful construction and very, very satisfying once we kind of understood it. Yeah, good, brilliant puzzle. Right, sorry, you probably already clicked off the video. In case you haven't, any interaction with the video, as always, is enormously appreciated. Like, comment, subscribe, that kind of thing. And like I said, check out Patreon/Twitch for the upcoming virtual baby shower mega stream, which will be good fun. I look forward to seeing you all there. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.